Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rewind and Reflect, where we believe in the universal truth that there's no such thing as coincidence or mistakes. We are here to share our life experience on that with you. My name is Deb Miller.
Hi, Deb. I'm Brett Summers. No, I'm Kristen Dean.
Hi, Kristen.
Great to see
Hi.
you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Susan Doyle. This is airing after the first of the year, being uploaded after the first of the year. So I hope everybody had a really nice New Year's. And
Mhm.
I am so excited. We now finally have a quad. If we have a couple more, we'll look like the Brady Bunch. But I am so excited to have a guest on that I thought, number one, that I would never see ever again because it was, my God, years and years and years ago that we've known each other, and it's so good to see her face. And I'm so happy to have you, Laurie Hull.
Mhm.
And Deb will introduce you. And I am catapulted back to like 1982, and my heart is so full right now.
I
So,
know, I know. Same here. So we've been talking about having a special guest on for a couple weeks, and here she is, a beautiful Laurie Hall, who goes back, I don't know, 35 years with us. Lori's younger sister, Amy, is a very close friend of ours in high school. And like we say, there's no such thing as coincidence or mistakes. I ran into Lori probably 8 years ago at a birthday party for somebody that we both knew. And then I recently ran into her a couple months ago at a memorial service. And she had mentioned that she listens to the podcast, that she really loves it. And I said, well, we'd love to have guests on. So, let's talk about things that you're really interested in, or that life experiences that you've had. And she brought up Al-Anon. And I thought, oh, perfect, because we talk a lot about recovery here. Me being in recovering from addiction, Kristen being in recovery from alcoholism, Sue being living the life of a recovered person from, her past experiences with eating and exercising. But we don't really have anybody that can hone in on Al-Anon, the program of Al-Anon, which is so incredibly important. So, Laurie, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to hear all about your story and how you've been engulfed in Al-Anon. You've known of Al-Anon, been part of Al-Anon, done all of the Al-Anon steps and all of the Al-Anon work for over 20 years. And that is so admirable because, being part of any fellowship or program where you have to work on yourself for that long, it's not easy. So we're really, really excited to hear um, what Al-Anon gave you in your darkest times. But I am going to start with, just so those of you who don't know what Al-Anon is, this is going to give you kind of, well, it's a 12-step program for people who have loved ones in their life that suffer from substance use disorder. And I'm reading from a book called How Al-Anon Works for Families and Friends of Alcoholics. And one of the things that Al-Anon always kind of drives home with people is you didn't cause it, you can't control it, and you can't cure it. And so I wanted this particular paragraph resonated with me, and I thought it would be a good way to start off and just really give people an idea of what Al-Anon is. So this is under the "we can't cure it" part. Um, Alcoholism is a progressive disease. If we didn't cause it and we can't control it, then the responsibility to find the answers is the alcoholic. It's not ours. Until the alcoholic has the desire to stop drinking, words, money, and treatment are all wasted energy. While we are unable to cure alcoholism, we can change our own attitudes. When family members and friends change their thinking, the entire situation can improve. To me, that really wraps up what Al-Anon is all about. It's about changing our attitudes, behaviors, thoughts, because we can't control another person. So, with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Lauren. Just kind of whatever you're comfortable with sharing about your experience, strength, and hope in this program. That's amazing. So thank you.
Thank you. First, I just want to thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
When I ran into you, Deb, I was like, you're so cute. And like, I hadn't seen you in so long. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Um, and when you asked me if I would like to be on a podcast, and I'm like, okay, I've had this like tiny little thing. I always wanted to be on one. So I was like, absolutely. And I'm passionate about self-care. And like you said, it's admirable to be in something for that long, to work on yourself. And I used to have this saying, like, and a lot of people in Al-Anon say, like, I'm sick of myself. Like, I'm
Mm.
sick of myself and my problems. And I can be, um, very vulnerable today and tell you guys, like, that's kind of me. I'm kind of wear it all on my sleeve. But I think the hardest part is about when you decide, or when you walk in those halls and you start to make a commitment, um, week after week, you don't want to go. And I think, there's that saying, you keep coming back. And it's like, and then you're sitting on your couch the following Tuesday and it's cold and it's rainy and you don't want to go. But you remember that last week you had that same thought and you went and you felt better.
Mm.
But you do get sick of yourself. You get sick of, like, it's that whole like, do I have to keep focusing on my problems and me to get through this? And unfortunately, the answer is yes, right? Because each day is a new day and the one day at a time mindset is so true. Like, because you can have a great day and a great moment and you can make it through the muck, the stuff, the crap that's going on in your life. And then you can wake up the next day and just like the tiniest thing will set you off. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm back. The version of me that I don't like is back. And that's one of those things that like you have to like, it's easy for me to admit that. I when I went into Al-Anon and how my experience, strength, and hope, when I went in, I was needing it so bad. I was so ready.
Mm.
And I think for the people out there that, they don't know if they should try it. I have a friend that like a recent new friend that I met, relocated, and I'll get into all that whole story. But I'm relocated to Cape Cod, and I'm semi-retired. I'm still working, but I met this person, and we've been friends for about a year, and she does have a son that's struggling, and I hadn't really told her anything
Mm.
about my, you know what I mean? I'd known her for a year, and I'd never really, we'd been out socially. She knows that my husband wasn't drinking, but I never said this is, and I just said, Carolyn, if you want to go to an Al-Anon meeting, um, I can get you there.
Mm.
And she did, and we're still seeking to find the right time. And so I think that, that whole thing, like everything happens for a reason, there's no coincidences. Why did I meet her a year ago on the beach walking my dog? Well, this is probably why, because
Mm.
it's really, and it's a hard thing to get through. And I know you read what you read, but like this just for today, this little these sayings, um, I could read them all, but like some of them are just, each one of them is a nugget that you're like, oh wow. Um, one of my ones that I love, just for today, I will be agreeable. I will look as well as I can and dress becomingly. Keep my voice low. Be courteous. Criticize not one bit. I won't find fault with anything, nor try to improve or regulate anybody but myself. That
Mm.
was a challenge. Just that one thing every day. And the dressing becomingly and all that, that sounds very like, oh, but it's more like get up, wash your face, take a shower.
Yeah.
When you're down in the dumps,
Mm. Mhm.
you don't want to
It
shower.
matters. It matters. It makes a
Totally.
difference.
Move
I
a
agree
muscle,
with
change
you.
a thought. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
your self-respect, your self-care is like such, like it's just like exercising. Um, when you decide you're going to do something because you want to change something, like you got to change something.
Mm.
And lately, I don't know why, I went to the gym last year and da da da, and I had all these intentions and good intentions. And what happened? By the middle of the year, we were going to the beach, and are we going to the gym? No. And it's like, so like with Al-Anon, it was like one of those things where like in the beginning, I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I would sit. And this is for the people that are like, afraid to go, or maybe they go and maybe they stop going, they don't want. And I would hear these ladies, these old women, and these words of wisdom were these people that had been there. And they were like, I've been coming for 12 years or 22 years. And I was like, get a gun if that's me. Like, I'm not going to be here in 12 years. I'm figuring this out.
Minute
What?
by
Today,
minute.
like right
Today?
now.
No, I'm not. What? Who are these ladies? And these ladies ended up being like my saviors,
Mhm.
talking about how they like their OCD and they were ironing their curtains instead of taking care of their children. Do you know what I mean? Like all these little nuggets. And what it was is my experience, strength, and hope really was that I was in a place I needed to go, and I had little children, and I was taking out my frustrations of my situation, not being able to control the person in my life, trying desperately and taking it out on the wrong people, which were
Mm.
my poor little children.
Mm.
And I learned wisdom from these women that had been going. And this little book each day, reading something, right? It's a daily, it's got a date, and it's got a, today even is a great one. If I want to make a major change which affects other lives as well, let me first consider the possible outcome. Have I really tried to examine and correct my own faults? Is there a way for me to improve my attitude? I will let the great decision wait until I have tried that. The truly wise solution may lie in improving myself. You don't want to hear it, but a lot of times you're thinking they're the problem and the drinking is the problem and the alcohol is the problem. Well, how am I reacting? I'm flipping out over the tiniest thing because I don't feel control.
Mm.
And I think that is what I learned, that just going and listening to everyone share their little nuggets to help me to be better in my own body.
Mm.
There was all these other little sayings like think, and I tend to just spew out the first um, thing right at the top of my head if I'm frustrated. Um, is it thoughtful? Is it honest? Is it intelligent? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Just something like that. For a whole week, I would be like, wow, and think about what the words coming out of my mouth were. And so I think so much with people struggling with this disease in their home and their families with their own children, like I can't even imagine with a child. Like if I think about what I went through and how much I would like try to control, like, I even tried to control just by trying to, oh, I'm not going to drink. I'm the one with it. And I wasn't even a big drinker at all. And it's like, we're not going to go to parties anymore. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. It didn't matter. It didn't change a
Mm.
thing. And all I was doing was trying to control and take it out on other people. So for me, it was a lifesaver because week after week, I could go 2 times a week. I could go 1 time a week. I could go 3 times a week. And I could meet up with people that could just help me realize, like, just focus, keep the focus on yourself. Stop trying to focus on that is what's going on around you, and be your own barometer. You know what I mean? If you're all tense, everyone around you is going to be tense. If you're screaming at the tiniest thing, then everyone's going to be, reacting, and next thing you know, you get crying kids. So I think for me, it was the people.
Mm.
And that's the part that actually reading all these readers that got you like in the morning, like, okay, I'm going to keep it together. I'm not going to explode on my child for no reason because they can't find their sock,
Mm.
because I can't, because I feel out of control because there's someone around me that's doing something right? You didn't cause it, you didn't cure it, you can't control it, but you sure as heck think you can.
Yeah.
Till you go
Mm.
there, I think, you know, you guys know, right, Kristen?
Well, it's very similar to the alcoholic thinking that they have that under control,
Right.
right? I mean, I have a question before Kristen answers. Did you find the group of people like right off the rip? Like, did so I have, I've had some people in my life who are in and out of the program, and um, it's like finding like that group of people that you can resonate with. So like right off the rip, did you walk into your first Al-Anon meeting and say, okay, like I think I can stay here? Or did you search for another meeting? Do you now go to multiple different groups? How did that work for you?
Yeah. So there wasn't one right in my town. There was one a few towns over, and when I went, it was like convenient and located, and I did feel like, wow, these are a really nice group of people. Um, but I did also go to like a meeting that was in, like, I lived in Shrewsbury. So like I went to a meeting in Worcester on Saturday mornings because I met people at this one that said, because I was trying to, because I was like raising kids, working, how, where, and so
Yeah.
in the middle of the week, I'd go to this town for this meeting. And then it was like, okay. And then I did start to meld, and, you go to your first one and you're like, oh my gosh, like, am I really going to hang out? Like there were a lot of like older women at this one,
Hmm.
and I'm like, am I really going to connect with these people? And then you learn to like love these people. But then I did meet people that were like, oh, you should try this one in Worcester at this place, at 10 a.m. And then, oh, I got another great one for you. And I would like, because I worked from home at the time, I could go on a Wednesday to like a 9 o'clock thing and just work my, so then I started finding these other things because people kind of started telling, oh, you're gonna love this group, and oh, and then like way down the road, many, many years into, like, someone started a candlelit one, and where we literally sat in a room and we had candles and it was
Oh,
dark, and like that
nice.
was a really intimate one. And I loved that one. And that was like way, and that was right in my town. And that was like one of the first ones someone had started. So I I feel like I initially did meet people that I ended up being friends with from that. If I think about it, like one of my mentors, who was a male, like I met him at that first meeting, and there were people that came and went, and then like there was another person that I was really close with that didn't end up being my sponsor, but my sponsor was someone that I kind of was like, I want her to, like, I could tell right away, like, she was hysterical. She cracked me up. She was such a beautiful soul. Um, and I kind of had this idea that I wanted her to be my sponsor, but I wanted to be respectful of her because, like, everyone wanted her. You know what I mean? So I needed
Yeah.
to wait and form our friendship organically before I asked her at the right time. And, she was amazing, and sadly is no longer on this earth.
Mm,
But she was so
sorry.
special. Yeah. So
Don't they tell
special.
you to go try like 6 meetings? Yeah,
Yeah.
Kristen, right?
Yeah,
Didn't they tell? Because
totally.
I remember them saying, don't just give us 6 meetings,
Yep.
like
Yeah.
with us or with other ones, just
Maybe before you
because
make a decision whether it's for you or
you
not.
Yeah.
exactly, right? Is that what
Got
And
it.
different
is that what
meetings too, like
Yeah.
you
different
said.
me?
Yeah, like
So
if you,
are there meetings like AA where there's is there a big book for Al-Anon?
Hmm.
Debbie's got it.
Yeah, this is it.
And
Hmm. Yeah.
It's a great
and
book.
so do they read
Yep.
chapters out of there like
Yeah.
AA, and do they and is there, or are there speaker meeting, all the same types of
There's
meetings
yes,
like there is in AA?
there's all that. There's a blue book, to be honest. I need to pull out all of my books. I have so many books, but and I honestly meant to do that today. But the Al-Anon Works, that one's good. But they do have the regular format. They have speaker meetings. They have big speaker meetings. And to be honest, I met like one of the speakers that I met at one of the meetings, like I went on up to him after and I said, I really resonated with you and we became really good friends. And like what I liked was that you did get that chance to meet people
Mm-hmm.
from all different areas. And like, there were times when I did a weekend getaway, a whole day, like you go and you do these, like I didn't stay overnight, but you do like a whole day conference and
Mm-hmm.
you get to hear like people from all over. Um, it's just inspiring and it just helps you to keep going, really.
So I have a specific question. Like, so here you are, you've got a young family, you've got somebody, your partner is drinking, um, and you're like, I need to get help for myself, and because the yelling, the screaming, the crying, the da 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 does not work. Okay.
Right.
And I'm speaking from a place of people in my life trying to help me as well. Okay. But how do you not, it's almost like you have to like they say, detach with love, walk away, take care of yourself. But I'm like, how do you not be so resentful to that person and be like, dude, I'm doing it all and now I'm getting help and then you're just doing your thing. Like, how do you
You-
not hold a resentment?
And I'm gonna piggyback on Debbie, and because I would think that some of that resentment comes from the fact, and this is based on, education and just reading and things like that, is, the addict is a liar.
Mm.
Like they're lying to you all the time. So like how how do you handles is the wrong word, but the resentment that comes from somebody that's super important in your life is lying to you all the time.
Yeah.
So I think, and this is where you get into I wanted to touch on all this. Like, there's a lot of God speak, right? I going in was already semi-committed. I would say that because I flopped and then I went back, but to being Buddhist. And I've
Hmm.
been Buddhist now 23 years.
Good for you.
But in between there, I did stop for a little bit and I went to a church, and a lot of it was confusion around a lot of the God speaking. I'm like, maybe I do need, but you need a you don't need it, but it really helps to have. I don't want to say you need or you should, like you don't, right? You can't tell anyone what to do, and they don't preach that, and they won't do that. They won't say
Hmm.
you must. But a spiritual practice outside of this really helps because that a lot of that is, you're turning your will, and like a lot of the speak is like turning your will over to him and your power over and your higher power. If you don't have that, as you're saying these things or you're hearing other people say it, and you're like, this is a bunch of bull. You know what I mean? Like you can be sitting in the room and you can listen to someone going, wah, wah, wah. And you're like, I'm not buying this. It's not
Hmm.
working for me. But if you have a solid something that you believe in, just something, it could be
Hmm.
because I'm Buddhist and we believe in the mystic law in the universe and the interconnectedness of all things,
Hmm.
and cause and effect. That everything, like you said, there's a reason, right? There's a reason we ran into each other. But the interconnectedness of all things, the mystic law is my higher power. And so when I hear the word God or turn it over to him, it's like I'm turning it over to the universe. What does the universe gonna do for me? I pray a lot. That's how I get through this.
Hmm.
I have a
Interesting.
Gahansin in my house, and we do a daily chant and prayer. I have, like an app on my phone where I can play that thing. But I end up how I got around that constantly being like, I hate you. Let's be
Hmm.
honest, right?
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
hate you for making me have to come to this thing every Tuesday night and Thursday night. And you're like you're sick of
Or like the
yourself.
person that you have become in reaction to their behavior.
Yes.
That's, how did you deal with that? It's like you
Yeah.
became this person, obviously, that you were not proud of and
Right.
didn't like and it was all in reaction to this other person's behavior.
Self-loathing. It was
Mm,
like I really did. And I think what it is like you feel really broken and you're like, who am I? And it's this unknowing and this unlearning of like this bad habit that that or this person that you've become that you're like,
hmm
this isn't me. And so I did a lot of prayer to tons of journaling. I mean, journaling is probably your best tool.
Mm.
Love
Write it out
journaling.
50 times that you hate yourself. Write it out like, and we'll talk about this in the ACA. It's like there's dear loving parent. You write a letter to yourself every day, dear loving parent. So like you do these things that seem ridiculous. Like that was another thing I was gonna dig out and like I have stacks of like journals and notebooks of you're just writing it all out, right? You're just getting it out on paper. Something about seeing it, like, I hate myself. I hate myself today. I'm mad at this. And get out that anger.
hmm
Uh,
But
and
yeah, and I get it when you share a thought with somebody, it's, it dissolves it, or, a fear or whatever. Like, so getting that out, either talking to somebody or journaling it. I guess what's striking me is that you are writing out, I hate myself, like, instead of I hate that person, you know? Are you looking at the way you're reacting and saying,
yeah.
I hate that I reacted this way? So
Hmm.
it's okay. So,
Yeah. I hate myself right now because I just screamed at my son because he was going to miss the bus because he can't figure out what to wear. And I am so like everything needs to be perfect. And he takes his sock off and throws it. And now the room is a mess.
mm.
In my mind, because I'm so fragile. And now I'm like, nah.
But are you saying like all of that pent up everything is because of the
That
person in your life that's
yes.
drinking alcoholically? Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things I did in that moment that I learned, these little old ladies taught me, if you are having a tantrum,
Hmm.
you the parent, like with your child, like you're coming unglued because you just feel like your world is just unglued.
Hmm.
Walk away, run away. Um, go and hit your knees.
Mm.
And it sounded so dumb the time that I heard someone say that. And I'm like, oh my God, as if I'm going to do that. Well, there came a day where I was literally, this is a real story, over my child who was in like second grade because he's itching. He doesn't want to wear his outfit. And we're going to miss the bus. And mind you, I have to drive a whole 2 miles if he did. And I work from home. So what? But to me, he has to be on the bus.
Mm.
And it's like a freaking of like everything has to be right because everything else is out of control. I can control this. I can get this kid on the bus. That means,
Mhm.
right? And it is. It's about the everything else that was going on at the end of the day was going to be chaos and I wasn't going to be able to control it
Yeah.
because someone was going to
Did you
walk.
find yourself anticipating that and making it more escalated than it was? So like it would hit a certain time at, I don't know, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever, and you're thinking, oh God, this person's coming home. Like this, at 5 o'clock, it's going to be like this. At 5:30, it's going to be like this. And then you just escalated it in your mind before it even happened.
To be honest, I was naively thinking every single day today it's going to be better because I'm going to light
Mm.
candles. I'm going to make the favorite meal and I'm
Um,
going to make everything be perfect. And today it's not going to happen.
It's like
Mm.
an alcoholic,
um,
right? Like today, I'm not going to drink.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
And then
no, I
Yeah.
every
naively
day.
I did not project that. But the day in the moment that I was having the fit about the kid throwing his sock off, the first time that I then said, and I'm losing it, and I said, why don't you just try that thing and go run away right now? And hit my knees and literally just on my bed being like, please help me get through this. Please help me get through this to my higher power, whatever, in this moment. Just right now, just help me right now in this moment. This one day at a time, 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 second, one breath.
Yes.
Yeah.
One
One
breath.
breath.
Breathe. Just breathe, Laurie. This is not a big deal, but you're making it a big deal. And the first time I went and did that, then it made it easy for me to do it the next time. And then the next time I wanted to explode at the other child, I'm like, get out of the room. Zip it. Don't, it's so hard, but it is, and so, yeah, you learn these little things that help you to get through the day. And to be honest, if you were to tell me 15 years ago, my life would be the hope part and I would not believe you.
Mm.
I really wouldn't. And that whole thing, like, keep coming, it works if you work it, you're worth it. That's what makes you come back at the end. When you're sitting on the couch on the Wednesday night and you don't want to go, and then you're like, oh my gosh, but like every little thing. And I will just say that, like, when I said how did I get through it? How did I not have I just prayed. And a lot of times it was just praying for my sanity to get through it. And then I did start praying because my sponsor told me to just start praying for him, just that he would be protected. You know what I mean? That you like that he well, actually in any way, but the way that I prayed, which I do believe worked. That's just my belief.
Mm-hmm.
That he would hit his bottom without hurting himself or another person.
Mm.
And that is what happened. There was an accident. There was a tree.
Mm.
No one got hurt.
Mm.
And that was a turning point. But that was really hard because it was back and forth and this or that. And that is actually when I started going to Al-Anon and ACA at the same time. It was like double duty.
Yeah.
I needed a double down. But if you were to tell me that I did just keep making those baby steps and I did keep I think like it became like I needed both things. Some people, oh, it's a crutch or whatever. No, I needed my spirituality practice and I needed my what I call free therapy. It cost $1. You walk in the thing and you get to hear so many experience, strength, and hope. And like people were giving me hope. And even though there were times I didn't believe it. And there were times that I would be sitting there going like Sue said, like I was so angry that I had to be there. I really wanted to be doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
But then if I look back and I think, what if I didn't go? What if I stopped? Do I think my life right now, which is like beyond my dreams, I'm telling you, like over the years, I had so many problems with jobs and whatever, that I finally was able to like kind of leave and come and start a new one, a new place and be like, I don't know. It doesn't, sometimes I just can't actually believe like that little miracle did happen. But and I prayed for the miracle. They say, pray for the miracle.
Yeah.
I
And
did pray for the
don't,
miracle. And I just a miracle. And I mean, the amount of tears, Sue, that I cried over like the resentment and this is my life. And, but I look back on that all now and it's like, it sounds so cheesy, but it's like all that pain built up, like,
brought you to this place.
yeah, like
this right now wouldn't have been possible if that didn't happen.
yeah.
For sure. I agree with that. I believe that. For the person in your life when they hit rock bottom, was that it? Or was it in fits and starts? Was it like decided that day and never went back?
No, it was back and forth a little bit, back and
Mm,
forth,
That's
probably
really
for
hard.
about 6 months.
The not knowing is almost even worse
Yeah,
sometimes. Like you want someone just pick something, sobriety or
yeah,
drunkenness,
yeah.
yeah,
Um, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't cut and dry. That's why I needed to go to the both because I was
right.
out of my mind. Because I was like, and no, I was like, I mean, I was gonna leave. I was out of here. I was like, I'm done. Um, so
And
many
And
times,
is that,
so many
excuse me
times.
for interrupting, is
Yeah.
that something, like out of the people who are there at Al-Anon, these sweet ladies that say,
Yeah.
you say that you met and that really guided you, are they all with the people, still with the people in their lives that had alcohol or drug issues? Did some of them leave? Did,
Yes.
was there a blueprint for that for you with any of them?
No, like it was they were all a mix, exactly what you said. Some of them
Mm-hmm.
left, some of them stayed, and and the person was still using it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them stayed and they stopped. And there's a very small percentage of people that actually end up staying, like that, Kristen, right? Like
I attend a meeting. I was just going to say this. I attend an Al-Anon meeting where the majority, it's mostly women. There are some men there, but the majority of people who still attend that meeting and have been going for years and years and years have a sober spouse
yeah,
that's been sober for years. So that just goes to show you it's working on you. Like they'll go in and they'll be like, damn, I still need this program, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a maintenance program.
yeah,
Just like AA, we maintain ourselves. It's all about us. So it doesn't matter. And then, too, like people end up with children who have substance um, abuse issues, or they discover that they had a parent, and alcoholism is a family disease. But yeah, the meeting I attend is mostly people have sober spouses and they continue to go.
and a lot, just because somebody's sober doesn't mean that they're working on themselves. So you're still living with crazy,
Amen.
mhm,
You're still living with crazy if they can be sober but not getting to the root of why they started drinking or drugging in the first place. And then they're dry drunks, and that can be worse. That
mhm.
can be worse. And I the thing I love about these 12-step programs is, yeah, yes, there's older people, and much to Sue's chagrin, we are middle age. I know she doesn't like to think that. We're probably past middle age at this point. But the
Well,
women, the
according to
people,
you, yeah, because if you double it, like we're dead at
you're dead,
114 or
right? So we're
116.
exactly. So
Jesus fucking.
but when I've gone to a couple Al-Anon meetings, and yeah, they're women and men who are in their 80s and 90s, okay, but they have trudged this path that we want to be on, whether it's
Mm,
AA, NA, Al-Anon, whatever. That to me is okay. They're still here. They're still sane. They're it works. So, okay, I'm going to just follow the path that they have led for me so that I know how to live a healthy life with or without somebody in my life, the person in my life that has the substance use issue. Because at the end of the day, it really is all about keeping our spiritual self fulfilled, um, keeping that spiritual bucket brim, filled to the brim. Because once that starts to get depleted, you are not able to help anyone around you, especially yourself. And that's when the claws come out, and that's why for me, having a higher power is just, it's just imperative because I can't do it on my own. I can't help myself or another human being if I'm not spiritually fit. So,
I love what you
how,
said too. Sorry, Deb,
no, go ahead.
Laurie, about so I started going to Al-Anon because of my oldest child. I was concerned for her. She was having some incidents with the law. um, and I knew mine and my ex-husband's genetic makeup, and so I worry for both my children, really. But one of the things that I pray for every single day is for my children to just, and people may think this is dorky, but I pray for them to just be bathed, like have light around them and be protected. Protect them with light, because I find myself, this is why I started going to Al-Anon, I can freak out and make shit up that's going to happen to my children. I have them 20 years down the line on Skid Row. Like, it's ridiculous. So I just have to quiet that and pray that they have a higher power and that higher power protects them. Like, so I loved what you said about, praying for your spouse. Like, because we're taught, like, well, we shouldn't really pray for someone, but damn it, I want to pray for my kids to be protected. It's important to me.
Of
So
course.
I love that.
And then the other thing I heard was when you're up against somebody who's not healthy and you say, bless them, change me. I like that. So you're in this like, and then that person who's not healthy needs the blessings. They need to be blessed by the higher power, by source, by light, by love, by all of that. And I need to be changed, my way of thinking or reacting to their actions. And if I'm reacting off the cuff, I'm not in a good headspace, So walking away, getting on your knees, saying a prayer, or, whatever, you're in your car driving and just hand it over, whatever you need to do, because we're not meant to carry the weight of another person's illness or, disease. We're meant to be a supportive, loving, kind person to the person who's suffering. But if we're taking on their disease, it's going to bring you both down, or all of you, whoever's in your family. That, could be, some people have, 4 kids and they all suffer with substance use disorder, or they have, whatever, parents, spouses, loved ones, best friend, whatever. We're not meant to carry their disease on our shoulders. We are meant to support them through. It can be really hard though. Sometimes it's like,
It's hard to support, I
shit
think,
together.
in anything when you feel as though, obviously you enter into a marriage because you want a partnership. And then when you feel as though you're the only one doing, work on yourself and raising the family and making sure the house is, X, Y, and Z and all the things. Um, yeah, I would suspect that resentment comes fast and furious and very easily.
So the
This is
listener
a
who
question for Laurie and Deb because Kristen just answered it. Do you, either one of you, based on, um, history, Laurie with the person in your life and Debbie with you, personally, ever have anxiety around your children, being addicts or having or struggling with, some substance abuse disorders or, um, any of that type of, I do believe that alcoholism is, you are born with some DNA that sets you up for that, whether it comes true, or addiction. I should just say more addiction, but is there anxiety around that?
Yeah, I mean,
Uneasiness that
my
Al-Anon helps with?
I I'm a recovering addict, and Hunter's dad was an addict until the day he passed. And so I am very fearful for Hunter. But I don't live in that fear, because I have seen, I also believe in the ability to recover and
Mm-hmm.
what our higher power can do for us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't live in that fear, but yeah, I mean, he was
And
set up
did your
genetically.
12 step or the Al-Anon um, meetings that you have, does that help with that, quelling that anxiety, quelling that fear?
Well, I'm more into the AA part of it for right now. I
Mm-hmm.
just started with Al-Anon, but I'm more focused on AA. And yes, AA absolutely does very similar to Al-Anon work, where we learn how to focus on ourselves, so to live in faith rather than fear. And so
Mm-hmm.
that helps with that. And to um one of my character defects, and like Laurie, I think a lot of people I think have this. It's that control. You want to control the other person because you want them to, what's on the other side for them, and you want them to get there, and
Mm-hmm.
so it we end up controlling things that because we can't control that person, right? So control, and that is such a dark and negative thing, needing to
Yeah.
have control over everything.
Yep.
So AA taught me to, focus on my character defects. And when I feel one of them climbing up on me, I
Mm-hmm.
got to stop, hit the reset button, make a call, do something, and take one of the tools that I've learned and deal with it, to try to quell it. But interesting with Laurie, because your kids, they have your genetic makeup, which I
Mm-hmm.
don't. I mean,
Yep.
you weren't an active alcoholic, but you have alcoholism in your family. And
Mm-hmm.
your husband was, so they kind of have that genetic makeup too. So you can speak to how Al-Anon
Did your
helps.
husband have it in his family as well, other than just himself?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yep.
So
So how do you deal with that fear or anxiety or
Yeah.
preoccupation that the shoe may drop?
I have two things written down related to this, little acronyms. Fear, false evidence appearing real.
real. Mm-hmm.
Another
Mm-hmm.
one we were just talking about, worry is a form of control. Have you guys ever heard that?
Yes, I have
Yes.
heard that. Ah,
That is a hard one.
yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
Totally.
boy, am I a worry wart. So, I think the thing with Al-Anon and children, I think like Sue had said, like, how did that help you or make you, did it help you or hurt you, whatever with your kids? A lot of times I'd be sitting there, especially in like the little candlelit meeting. That one was particularly a lot of those people attending that one, it was about their children. And my kids were right at the age of like, starting to experiment with alcohol and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would sit there and listen to these stories of, we're trying to like not, um, like someone's got a child that they know is homeless. Do we go and rescue them? Um, as we know that whole family, right? That's in the news, right? Like, what would I do? I would sit there and I would be like, this is just like a whole nother animal, right? Your spouse and your child. Like I can't even, right? Like, um, but I did a lot of praying about that too,
Mm-hmm.
like that they would just be regular social drinkers, and when they were younger, you would think, actually, to be honest, you probably would think that I would have been the opposite of like being like, I'll let you drink, even though I know you're underage. Here's the thing. I knew, like, let's say, like, they're seniors in high school, right? It's not legal. They're going to be drink. Like, I did let them in my house because I knew if they weren't going to do it in my house, they're going to drive
Hmm.
somewhere else and maybe be driving all around. So, like, again,
Yeah.
maybe that was a form of control where I said I would allow
Yeah.
it. But like, I can't even say how grateful I am that both of my children are just social. They don't have that.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah,
Good.
right?
Awesome.
I say yeah because
Yeah.
doesn't
You never know.
mean
Come anytime.
to come at any time, right? Something could happen in your life that causes you to, spiral emotionally. And if you don't have other tools, right, that's what you're going to go for that. So, like, your mental
Mm-hmm.
state and your mental well-being is very much a big part of whether you're going to self-medicate with,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're trying to fix that upsetness, right? You have anxiety, you have whatever,
You just have discomfort
you
and
have
you just don't want
discomfort.
to feel
Yeah.
the discomfort.
Right, you're
Right.
upset. You're having, you lose a job, you get into depression, you keep applying for jobs, you can't get one. Boom, you become, you know what I mean? You can, it's
Yeah.
all these things. You have a girlfriend, they break up with you. Boom. Um, any little thing. So it doesn't mean I'm in the clear at all. But right now, um, but I think the hardest part being in those meetings was hearing those stories and thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, like worrying is a form of control.
Yeah.
Thinking about, and so when even to this day, like my daughter went to a thing, she came, she was going to something on another part in the Cape with a whole bunch of people, and I knew she was going to be smart, but like I almost texted her and said, "You're taking an Uber, right?" And then I like stopped myself because that probably would set her off to be like, Mom, do you really think, because she is responsible. And I said something to my husband. He goes, Lori, you know that she, and I didn't do it,
God,
and
I
I
can
wanted
relate to
to.
that.
And like, I would be texting, like when she was at school, I would be, like, and then I had to stop being overly, and I had to trust that the universe was going to look out for them. And if something happened, I don't know. The thing is, I have friends that have lost their children
Mhm.
over, right, an accident, and what, drinking or not, in a snowstorm from a ski trip. You know what I mean? Not drinking or not. But like if it, like that's the kind of stuff you have to learn to like. And my beloved, that I was like, it's like, well, if that happens when the time like worrying about it isn't going to change if
Mm-hmm.
that's make that happen or
Mm-hmm.
not happen. Your worry isn't going to change the outcome as much as you think it might. Your amount of
Right.
worry isn't going to reduce the thing that's going to happen. And that was
And
something
it's very much like a reaction. The only person it's affecting is you,
It's you.
right?
really,
It'll ruin your
I
day.
always say, my thing with worry is like walking around with an open umbrella thinking it's going to rain.
Mm.
Yeah.
And worrying twice. Like, so you're worrying now and
Yeah.
then it doesn't even happen. That's all wasted energy. That's
Yeah.
all wasted energy that could have gone to something else.
The one time I'm not angstful, I just, my son is home, his car is parked. I know my daughter's home, her car is parked. Like, forget it. I worry every single day. And I have heard that before, Lori. Worry is a form of control. And
Yeah.
the
Mm.
only person's day it ruins is mine.
yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that
Oh,
is the best feeling when I'm laying here, same thing, like when like Christmas night, and they're all tucked in their beds. Like
yeah,
they both came down and they're here, and I'm like, oh,
we love our kids so
ooh. But
much.
it's like to be able to be like that when they're not here
Yeah.
is what,
Right.
right? Like, can you do it? And honestly, like all the years of all the stuff, but I can still have that, but a lot, I mean, it's time of putting the work in.
It's time.
It really is. And I like,
Very
honestly,
well said. It's
it's
time.
just, and I feel like the little things, just all the little things all the time, and not giving up and believing. I think that, I think the message for like the people that might be like, oh, I should try Al-Anon, I never have ever heard of it. They might have, just like me, a therapist that I had multiple people telling me for years and I ignored it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to shame, that whole shame thing. You feel ashamed. I'm worried I'm going to walk in, I'm going to see five people I know, and I'm going to be judged. The judgment and the fear of judgment, I
Hmm.
think the
Paralyzing.
judgment is just,
It can be paralyzing.
that's what stops you. You're afraid.
Yeah.
You're afraid, um,
Yeah.
you're afraid to be judged. And my thing is like, what you learn is to just like, when you can learn to not care what other people think about you, that's another big message in Al-Anon and in ACA. When you can literally be like, I don't give a fuck. Sorry, you might have to bleep that out.
No, we
What
swear.
other people think about me.
Right.
So
You
Yeah.
can have
freeing.
all the opinions you want. Um, do I love me? You know, today I can say that I do. I don't hate myself anymore. And all the parts that I did hate, right? Like they made up the unperfect. Yeah, I'm imperfect. I'm not perfect. And I live with someone who's actually extremely, as a person, one of the smartest people. He's always been able to actually support me, even during the worst of worst. Um, he supported my going here. It
Mm.
was never like, and a lot of times, and we're talking like years in, like 7 years, 8 years in, I would be really cranky. And, and this might really annoy some people. And I'd be like, I feel like going to my meeting tonight. And he knows that I know. And he's like, he kind of looks at me and he's like, now, and again, you want to talk about resentful? And he's like, you kind of
That's
need it.
awesome. He's your
Like,
support. I love
yeah.
that. I love that.
And I'm like, but like, what I was going to say about it, I was like, oh my God. But like, the thing about him was like, this thing about being perfect and this perfect, the being, and that's one of your guys' first episodes, like, full soldier here. Like you guys weren't talking to each other because you thought each other's had perfect lives and stuff. And this whole thing about like, I'm perfect, you want to be perfect and you want your house, all this thing, this OCD stuff. But like we live in an imperfect world, like I buy a new house and you know what? I live here 6 months and I realize it is not perfect. And like I can let that really get to me. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that corner isn't square. And it's like, but like to what end? Like it's an imperfect world. You're
Right.
not going to be perfect. That's not who, like, why does it matter? And somewhere, I don't know where, I think it's genetics, right? I have OCDness but it's in your makeup. Like we do have it in our family, actually. I had a great uncle that waxed his house. So the water, when it rained,
What?
hand waxed,
Wow.
Holy,
would beat off.
whoa. Is he still alive? No.
Did it work?
Like it, honestly, they're like, but like his children and what they've done
Not a
with
bad
life, we're not
idea.
going to talk about it because it's
Yeah.
not, but like they, like we are a makeup. That's a thing. And that's an ACD thing.
Mm.
Like who are your people? What is your
Yeah.
family tree? That's what they make you look at. And it's like, you are who you are for a
Right.
reason, right? But
Right.
like, and so like I do have this thing about OCD, and OCD isn't just, perfection and cleanliness. It's all it's there's a lot of other stuff
Mm.
around it too. But it's a bundle, right? You guys have all heard, right? There's a bundle. Usually people with addictions or living with people, like you come with a bundle. It's not just one
Hmm.
thing. You've got a bunch of things, right? You got a family like of like you like me, I'm
Yeah.
a bundle, ADHD, OCD. I have this all, and I do have addiction tendencies. But I've learned, I mean, like I smoked cigarettes for years and years, couldn't quit that habit. You know what I mean? Like, but I finally did. You know what I mean? But like it took some serious, overcoming.
Hmm.
But I think like we're born with a bundle. We come with stuff. Like our history is our past, and that
Right.
it's just breaking that cycle, breaking that.
Yeah, and well, it's also those are all mental health issues too,
Right.
and
It's all
it's just part of
intertwined.
who we are. Yeah.
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 I hate to be the albatross here, but we got to start wrapping up. So let's what's the one nugget?
Mm,
You can have two if you want.
Hmm.
You want people to leave here with from this amazing conversation. I mean,
amazing.
amazing conversation. And I think, for me, I'm gonna go first. I think regardless of whether you have an active addict, a recovering addict, or an addict at all in your life, the things that we talked about today and the mantras and the things, more importantly, self-care, nothing, nothing is perfect. Judgment is, in the judgment or the fear of judgment robs you of joy every single time. Are messages and ways of life that everybody can benefit from.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, this was so amazing, Laurie. Thank you for letting us into your world and to
Mm.
hear what your experience, strength, and hope is. And saying, with same with Sue, like what you just said, we're only hurting ourselves if we don't reach out and help and ask for help. Nobody knows that we need help unless we ask for it. And having somebody in your life who has been on this path for years and years, or just meeting somebody has gone through what you're going through and can help you through is such a gift. But you got to ask for it and you got to take advantage of it. And I'm just so grateful that these programs exist,
Mm,
and it is cheap therapy. It's only when you go to a meeting, they only ask you for $1. And if you don't have $1, you don't even put anything in the basket. So what about you, Kristen Dean? What are you
I
taking away?
feel like, Laurie, thank you so much for sharing your experience, strength, and hope. Al-Anon is a very important program to me. I've been slacking off lately, and this is there are no coincidences or mistakes. This is another
mm-hmm.
message. But I would say, the thing that was driven home to me, and you talked about, Laurie, I'm sick of myself, is we don't go to Al-Anon to fix the alcoholic or to get them to stop drinking. We go there
Right.
for us. So if you're going to Al-Anon thinking you're going to get that person to stop using or doing whatever they do, then you got to be ready and willing to go for yourself. So, and
Mm,
you brought that message out loud and clear, Laurie. So, just talking about how wonderful your life is now beyond your dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what these programs do for us. So
Mm-hmm.
mm,
thank you.
You're welcome. I think that yeah, so I could say that those ladies said that one day you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, whoa, and I never believed it. Um, when I first heard that, I thought that sounded outrageous. But
Mm-hmm.
then I just kept going, like they said, to keep coming.
yeah.
And little by
Yeah,
little,
there's something, yeah, like if there's something that like you don't know what it is.
yeah.
It just sort of spoke to you and you're sort of like, huh,
I just
maybe
knew
there's something
that,
here. And you
yeah.
just kept exploring.
I just what I was sharing this with my husband earlier, because I talked to him. I was sort of like just talking to him about it because and I just was like, it was that I knew that I was going to feel better
Mm,
because every time I left, I felt better.
yeah.
So that's what made me do it.
Yeah.
And then little by little, and then people used to say, like, why do you think you're not going to have the miracle? And there's a book, the, oh, sorry, The Gift of Miracles or I don't know. There's a book. It's not an Al-Anon book, but it was like about, it's like, it's kind of, it's a, like a, like, uh, Wayne,
Dwyer.
His, like just the miracle, and
Yeah,
then it's like, well, I can start praying for that miracle.
sure.
I didn't have to not believe, but there was a time when I'd hear that saying like, oh, you're gonna just come back one day and you're gonna go like, and yeah, I just, no, I couldn't, I couldn't think of
Well, also
my,
it's the promises.
yep,
Those promises that we read at meetings, and maybe next week we could start out by reading those. And it's
yeah,
like, this is what we promise you're going to get if you
yeah.
stick it out, and all of
Mm-hmm.
them come true.
The,
So,
yeah, the ACA promises are definitely, so I have two little sayings I would end with that were like, one of them is let go or be dragged.
mm, that's my favorite.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And the other one is just, this was like my sponsor, and it's just to keep the focus on me. It's something I used to repeat, and she said it, and I was like, whoa. And the time she said it, I just was like, it hit me so hard. But if it doesn't affect my breathing, it's none of my business.
Haven't
That's a
heard that
good one.
before.
I
That's
like
really good.
that.
Yep.
I like that.
Mm,
That
I
is a
love that.
perfect ending to a
Hmm.
Yes.
perfect podcast.
Yes. Thank you so
Perfectly
much.
imperfect podcast.
We will
Laurie,
be
it is so
back
good to see you.
next week. We're going to talk about ACA, which is Children of Alcoholics, and that program. But I'm sure there'll be more Al-Anon talk as well, because everything's interlinked here.
Hmm.
So, Laurie, again, thank you so much for being so open and willing to spend your time with us today. I know that your information is going to help so many people that are
Mm.
listening. So, God bless you. Namaste to everyone. And until next week, we will see you.
Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye.